I've been watching United since an 81-82 season, and I've seen, I think, maybe more good times than bad.
Well, I think it's a bit of a blessing in disguise this season, living in South Wales.
I think you have to look at where we've come from, where we are now, and look, that's much easier said than done. I get that. I get it's been horrible this season sometimes, but you have to look at where we started this journey.
Every game's the start of a new one. I always expect 3 points every single game. Obviously we get hammered, I'm down about it. Next game, it's always the next game.
So to be honest with you, I don't really struggle too much. I think about all the time we did in League One, all the time we did in the Championship before that, and we've been in the Premier League 3 out of the last 5 seasons. Let's be honest, we can't complain about that too much.
Being a blade is never a boring experience.
Well, it's quite simple, isn't it? We don't expect to win.
I think the main way I've been positive this season, even seeing us getting battered 5-6, 8-0, is I had low expectations to start with, especially after the transfer window shut.
What I have seen is that, and I've come to expect that there'll be good times, really good times, and there'll be bad times as well.
We've had it much worse. I think at days when we went down to 4th division.
And I think you also have to look at things like the academy. You have to look at all the talent coming through. There's loads to be excited about there.
This is what it's like supporting United.
I was really happy that, yes, we've been promoted to the Premier League, but what that meant was we were going to be a solvent club.
You know, I've had this mindset for the last few years that what you need to do is if you're going to bridge that gap, you have to have a yo-yo team, and I expect therefore we're going to have some good seasons and bad seasons.
Can be a lot worse, and as I say, we've been there, done that.
Look at those infrastructure projects that have been announced, things like that off the field.
We lose on Saturday. By Monday, we're looking forward to the next match, and we can beat anybody.
We are investing in the infrastructure, the academy that we're building. We're obviously bought the stadium now, so we are in a good position. We're just losing every week, which is hard.
We're limited by what we've got available to us, therefore your expectation needs to be limited as well, I think.
So I think you have to take a long view, and you have to keep an eye on the big picture.
I think we're just eternal optimists, aren't we, as Unitedites?
At one point in the COVID season, we were the worst sports team in any league, in any sport that ever existed, because we lost 19 on the bounce. So that's my positivity.
Jack Robinson.
It's got to be Robbo for me.
Jackie Longthrow.
It's got to be Robbo.
I think you could argue he's been United's best defender.
Probably the most consistent performer we've had this season, and that's a really low bar. I know that.
I think he's been absolutely quality. He's been the most consistent player throughout.
He's always had a mistake in him, but this season he's risen to the occasion.
He's probably looked the most comfortable at this level, which again is a wild thing to say about Jackie Longthrow, but here we are.
Well done, Robbo.
Andre Brooks, I think he's been a revelation. We obviously knew he was good from the academy, and he's really stepped up, and he looks to hold his own.
Brooks has surprised me this season. His maturity, calmness during games and big games, and he's always showing for the ball.
I'm excited for Ollie Arblaster. I think he held his own in the match that I saw him in.
Here it comes, Jimmy. It's got to be your boy Archer.
Absolutely infuriating.
It seems like he don't want to shoot. When he does, he hesitates. He wants free touches. Before he has a shot, defenders close him down.
Biggest surprise has been the disappointment from Anel.
I think Anel really, he just hasn't stepped up to the plate. He's been really disappointing.
I thought we had a player there that would make the grade, step up quite easily and comfortably, and he's just really not done it.
Giving him captain's armband this season were a big mistake. He needs to concentrate on his own game.
Gibrick, I was expecting this man mountain coming in, clearing everyone out, taking command of the defence. He's learned behind one of the best in Europe. What do we get? I think someone's nailed his boots to that goal line. He ain't moving anywhere off that line.
Two massive ones, I think. I think the whole season can be boiled down to this in terms of what we have to learn going forward. The first one is on the pitch, clinical. We have to learn to be clinical in the final third.
We just can't bridge the gap. The gap's got bigger and bigger and bigger. Every time we've got promoted, they've just got further and further away from us.
Planning and prep, yes, Listening to Bettis and that on his interview last week, I think we didn't have much choice. We had to get rid of those players, as in Zander and Illiman at the time we did, but I think we should have had a better contingency plan.
I think we need a good spine to the team. We've always had a good goalkeeper, a good centre half, centre midfield and a striker.
Last time we went up, we tried to sign a lot of leading championship players. So Rhian Brewster, Ollie McBurney. We obviously took risks there because we couldn't compete, or clubs who were going to buy strikers in the Premier League, we couldn't compete on wages. And that left us in a massive hole. So I'm so glad that we've learned from those mistakes.
Could we set his own transfer deadline so that we're not letting players go 2 weeks before the season starts?
I think we've already started to learn, looking at our recruitment and changing that side of things within the club. So hopefully those lessons have been learned and we can hopefully improve our recruitment that's been pretty substandard, let's say, over the last 18 to 24 months.
As a fan base, we just need to learn to be patient. Don't raise your expectations too high. We are who we are.
But I do sometimes think there's a level of naivety on the pitch where you got sides turn up and the time wasting and falling over and winning free kicks left, right and centre. And we just don't... I'm not saying I want our players to do that, but we just don't seem to cotton on to that's what they're doing.
We've looked good, we've looked decent, we've looked in the game, we've looked comfortable. First 10-15 minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4 chances going missing. They go up the other end and score their first chance sometimes, and instantly we're 1-0 down on the back foot. We never recover, we're not good enough to recover.
We can't do what we did this last summer where we were all last minute. Illiman and Sander going last minute, getting Hamer in, not having a full pre-season. We need to have a pre-season.
I might be wrong again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it always felt to me from that point of view that the players who were undercooked, they just weren't fit enough at the start of the season.
Off the pitch, I think ruthlessness in the boardroom is where we need to be better going forward. You look at the Sander situation, and Bettis said, okay, Burnley came in at the start of the window, but they didn't meet our valuation. That's fine, but for me, if we knew that he wasn't going to sign a new deal, if we knew that the plan was if an offer comes in for him, we'll sell him, then I think you probably have to be a lot braver there. You probably have to be a lot more ruthless there and say, look, well, we're going to sell him, we're going to shop him round, we're going to get a deal for him, whether it's to Burnley or whoever. We're going to get someone, we're going to find a club who wants him, who's going to meet our valuation for him.
It is very important to make sure that we have an injury prevention policy. We've had too many injuries, so I'd like to see that rectified.
For us to get hammered on our last pre-season game against Stuttgart, they absolutely trounced us. That couldn't have been good for our confidence going into them games.
Once the infrastructure's in place, then things will change.
I think Everton's going to have a big say in the last few weeks. They've got to play United, they've got to play Burnley, they've got to play Luton, and they've got to play Brentford.
I think they're all crucial now towards end of season, but I think as long as we can finish above Burnley, I'd be happy with that. But I think must-win matches, it's got to be Burnley and Forest.
It wouldn't surprise me if 32 points is the number that you need to stop up this season.
Well, all of them. However, the really crucial ones are the ones against Forest, Burnley, Brentford, maybe even Tottenham at home.
Forest will probably win 3 games, Luton might win 3 games. That means United need, I think, 18 points, so 6 games from the remaining 10, which is what game in hand at the minute. So the question is, where do you get those 6 wins from?
Real simple, this one. 3 of them: Burnley, Forest at home, and Everton away. Look, we're down. We're relegated for me, pretty much. I can't see a world in which we stay up, even if we win all 3 of those.
I think we've got Brentford away, so there's a potential. We've got to play Burnley at home. We've got to play Forest at home. So, that could be 3. 3 games, and like I said already, I think this game this weekend, the Fulham match, is really, really important.
It's Burnley. We do not want to be finishing bottom of this Premier League.
It's got to be the last game. Season's gone, we're down. We've got the 12 points, that's all I'm bothered about. We've got the away win, we've got the home win. That's the major ones that I always think of when we go to the Premiership.
It'd be nice if can we go away to Everton. It's their last, as I say, last home game, but it could be done for them by then. Pressure might be off, so we might sneak a win.
Me personally, the crucial games are going to be Burnley and Forest at home. I would love to make Spurs not get Champions League football just for their cockiness when they beat us at home last minute.
And then we've got Spurs last match of the season. They might have nothing to play for. Literally nothing to play for at all. We could actually be going into that last match of the season. It sounds ridiculous, this, and I try not to be overly positive, but we might be turning up on that afternoon needing a win to stay up. It's not within the realms of possibility.
Okay, there's one match that I think is crucial, and it's Burnley. I will be there, and really my only objective now towards the end of the season is finishing above Burnley. So if we can win that game, have a nice day out at Bramall Lane, and it can be a highlight of a season that most of us will want to forget.
That might be the 6th game that we need. So I'm not writing it off yet. In my head, I probably have, but in my heart, I haven't.
I just want to stuff Burnley.
I do believe that we can beat Burnley, and I do believe that we won't finish bottom of the Premier League.
Arguably one of the best squads United's ever had, bizarrely. You know, we've got players in that on that pitch that cost tens of millions of pounds, and comparative, they're better players to players of the past. I think the problem is that what they're playing against is just significantly much better.
I think previous squads have always had that heart and desire and the fight, and no matter how we're playing, we've always given 100%.
This squad on paper is probably better than the one that we had the first time under Wilder in the Premier League. On paper, but in practice it's been terrible, hasn't it? It's been terrible because of all those intangible things.
Technically, it's a hell of a lot better than any other squads I've seen. You just have to look down the team list, and we've got a lot better players.
Back to the COVID season, or any season in the last, I'd probably say it's close to 10 years. There's no point where I thought that we're going to get hammered 5, 6, 7, 8-0. And that's where we've struggled, I think, this season. We've struggled at the back, just not had that bit of fight. I think our heads have dropped too many times this season, and I think compared to previous squads, I really do think that's where we've been lacking this year.
On paper, we've got the quality there. Just unfortunately, there is no togetherness, no never say die attitude.
Everybody else is so far in front. The gap's just got so wide now.
If we hadn't had such a massive injury problem, we would have seen a better squad, wouldn't we? We would have seen more of the squad that we were wanting to put together.
This season's squad, as we've seen them capitulate on numerous occasions, conceding 1 and 2 goals really quickly. In the past, that would never have happened. Definitely the difference is the mentality of the players.
All those sort of intangible things like around confidence and form and all that sort of stuff, new ideas coming in, all that sort of stuff, has probably made this squad worse in practice than previous seasons. And you've probably got to say that it is certainly worse than that 9th place finish, and probably worse than the promotion squad.
We're not a team anymore. They don't seem to play as a team. When they were playing as a 3, you know, Wardy, Whitehouse, Bradshaw, they'd fight and die for each other. We don't seem to have got any of that anymore. You know, going back to Fleck, Cools, they fought as a team.
They just seem to be playing for themselves and not for the team.
We're going to need a goalkeeper. Whether you keep Gerbich or not, I think he's unfairly criticised at the minute. The lad's come from a foreign country, he's had to move out in January, and he's been stuck behind arguably the worst defence that the Premier League's ever seen. He hasn't had much of a chance.
Goalkeeper, we need a backup. If Gerbich stays, we need a backup. I think if Vic is available for the rumoured price, then I think that's a no-brainer for me. I think we have to be in for him.
Off the field, we need to improve it. It's something not bringing the teams together. We're a bunch of individuals, so either pre and post games, whatever we're doing, whatever team activities we're doing, how we're doing as training. That needs to improve. We need to be on that pitch as a team going forward.
All over the pitch we need to improve, especially we need a goal scorer who can get us 20 goals a season.
I think defensively, I think we need a good centre half in, especially if John Egan goes. There's a chance we might lose a Nell, which leaves us a bit thin on the ground there. So I think we need a centre back.
The spine of the team. Keeper hasn't been convincing. Might need competition there.
We need to shore up the defence. We need some good, no-nonsense defenders. Joe Worrell type, or Egan type, Basham type defenders.
I see an L going because he wants to go, I think, and I can't see with Bash obviously. There's no cover there whatsoever, so I think we'll need at least one right centre back in there, and maybe even one to cover.
Left wing back, that's the first one for me. First body through the door has to be a left wing back, and it has to be someone sorted for the foreseeable future. He has to be our left wing back for years to come, I think.
We need to shore up the defence, our wing backs as well. If George Baldock goes, then we're left with Bogle and Sam Curtis. I think that if Anel goes and John Egan, he's been injured, let's face it, he's getting a little bit older. We need to be looking at that defence.
We need a proven striker that's going to bang in the goals in the Championship.
Need a leader, a centre half.
Left back, definitely got to sort left back out. Don't know who, to be honest, but we've had such bad luck at left back, haven't we?
Left wing back, there might be a position there that needs strengthening. Reece is obviously susceptible to injury. Is he going to be fit? Looks like Lowe will be off anyway. Personally, I'd give Osborne a contract. I've mentioned utility players because he can drop in there.
If Anel leaves, you probably need 3 centre backs. If he stays, you maybe need 1 or 2.
If we sell Hamer and Souza, we can look at midfield as well. But if we do sell them, at least we'll get a lot of money we can use for those transfers. But really, that backbone really needs some work.
We need a bit of creativity in midfield.
Up front's a problem, clearly. I mean, we're going to lose Cam. Bruce is going to be injured. Coloured boots can clear off.
Shelby McBurney jogs around in them bloody coloured boots.
Jefferson might or might not sign a new contract. So, leaves us with Asula, doesn't it? And little Benny if he comes back.
Probably need 6 players at least. Goalkeeper, right centre back, midfielder, striker, possibly a left wing back as well. And I think that's bare minimum.
Striker's another department that needs strengthening big time.
And we need what every team needs is a 20 goal a season striker up top.
I'd love to keep George. I think he's the best of the right wing back options until Curtis steps on the pitch and shows he's better. We'll never know, I guess.
So for me, the number 1 priority is Hamer. Gustavo Hamer is an absolute priority. He's a cheat code in the Championship. We know he's a known quantity at that level. We know what we're going to get out of him. We have to keep him, 100%.
For sure, we need to keep George Baldock. I think he is one of the best players we've got.
We need to keep the spine. I think we need to keep Hamer, proven in the Championship last season, quality player. I think Vinny Souza's turning into a quality player. However, listening to Betis and listening to the potential comments, it's not 100% confirmed on what Souza says, he could be off.
I know he's getting stick, but Norwood, I'd keep him. He's going to be a great sub. Could come on, do full games every now and again. He's still got brilliant range of passing. Alright, his speed might have gone, but we're back in Championship again. He knows that league. Who else are we going to get with that skill level at that league?
Well, we've signed all young guns up, so that is a big plus.
I think you've got to keep Egan.
I've got Anel and Souza if possible. I'd love to keep him because I think they'd be great players in that league. But if someone's willing to pay what we think they're worth, then it probably makes sense to let him go and reinvest.
People like Ollie Arbasser, I know he signed a 4-year contract, but I think he should be in the setup next year if we're playing in the Championship.
Getting Egan signed is crucial. I think we have missed him this season, I really do.
I think at an experienced old guard, I think we should keep Egan and George Baldock.
You've got to keep Hamer. I think Souza's going to go. Do you need Vinny Souza in the Championship anyway? Probably not. So it's probably a good time to sell him.
And I think McBurney and Baldock need deals.
Keeping Robbo, I think you've got to keep a player that's done that well this season. And then all the youngsters, let's not go releasing all our youngsters, don't matter what money comes in. Let's keep all our youngsters, let's keep our Brookses, let's try and keep Jebo, even though I'm not convinced that'll happen, but let's just keep our youngsters.
I believe Hamer is the crucial one we need to keep out of the saleable assets we've got.
The next one below that for me is Egan Norwood, Reece Norrington-Davies, and maybe Osborne, because I think that versatility is quite useful.
George Baldock and John Egan and Reece Norrington-Davies, if they can get fit.
I think Ben Osborne is a very good utility player. He's good in the Championship, and he cost us what, 2-3 million. So I just think he's not worth getting rid of.
Trust that we've got the right man in charge, hopefully, to make all those decisions. I'm selling an L because he wants to. Sounds like wants to be gone. So there's some money to be made there.
We could sell a lot of them, to be honest.
Well, I think it's inevitable that we're going to have to sell Sousa and Almordic.
Sousa and Anel, not saying they're bad players, far from it. They're both great players, but they seem to be, if and when they play, we were talking about it in Ramble, Glyn Hodges, when he played, brilliant, we won. But he only played 1 in 3 games. That seems to be what Sousa's doing at the moment. 1 in 3 games, he's playing decent and playing well. When pressure's on, I think he sort of folds a little, if that makes sense.
Selling Sousa. Again, I contrary to some people, I think there's a player in there, and I think he's a player that, with good players around him, would be even better.
The simple answer is no one, unless the money's too good to turn down. So I guess my non-glib answer is, if we can get the cash that was rumoured we could for an L, I'd probably cash in on an L now.
I think Norwood, I know it'll be a release more than a sell. I think he's got to go.
Anel has lost since the start of the season. I don't know what's happened, if his head's been turned during the summer or what, but his heart's not in it, his head's not in it.
None of them have pulled up any trees this season.
I think Almordic is a very good player, and I think he'll come good again. But I think he just needs to move. He needs to move abroad.
This is maybe a controversial one, but if the rumours about Bogle not wanting to sign a new deal are true, I'd maybe think about cashing in there as well. If you give him a new deal, that also complicates Sam Curtis's path to the first team.
I think McBurney, I'd let him go now personally. I was teetering on the edge, and then his last couple of performances, it's kind of pushed it over the edge for me.
Sousa's a legend in his own mind. He needs to go and play somewhere else so that he can get in his Brazilian squad.
I'd get rid of Krivic, I really would. I'm not convinced by him. I don't think he's any better than Wes Foderingham personally.
I think I pumped on a centre-back, somebody like Ronnie Edwards at Peterborough. Darren McAntony drives a hard bargain, so I'm not wanting cheap. I'm just thinking Peterborough's top end, League One, might not get promoted. You might get a good player there for a reasonable price.
Ben Brereton Diaz on loan. Do I think it'll happen? No. I think he'd be great in the Championship for us.
Schmodix from Blackburn, he'd be ideal, but I think he might be a bit out of our range.
I would love to see Dean Henderson back at the Lane. I don't think he'll come.
Johansson, we need a goalkeeper. I would definitely go for him.
I would love Worrell to come from Forest. He screams out what we've been missing. Bit of a leader, throw his body on the line.
Hamza Chowdhury at Leicester. I know Leicester, there's a good chance Leicester's going to get promoted. I know he'll be on a good whack at Leicester as well. But he's been in and out of their side for a long time now. I think he played more recently, more frequently. But if they get promoted, is he going to be surplus to requirement? Is he going to want to move somewhere? And I think a player like him that will break the play up and move the ball about the pitch is the kind of player that is a good swap from Norwood as much as anything else. At a younger age, I think he's a very good player.
The other one, which is still pushing it, I think, but is probably more realistic, is Morgan Whittaker.
Whittaker from Plymouth.
Probably 10 million plus for him. He's a right winger, so that lets us keep that 4-3-3 formation that Wilder's played a little bit. In that Macca role out wide if he wants to, but he can also play that number 10 attacking midfielder role. So in that sense, although they're different players, he's he'd be a decent replacement for Macca, I think. And again, he's got 18 goals.
I just hope it's better than Yasser Larouci.
We can get Archer, we can get some sort of deal for Archer, proven in the Championship. Comes back to one of the previous questions. We need a striker who's going to guarantee us 20 odd goals in the Championship next season.
This will get people googling. Dr. Richard Sylvester. He works at Princess Grace Hospital and he's one of the top sports physiotherapists, surgeons, you name it, anything to do with sports, he's one of the top ones. Let's get him signed up, get him in this state-of-the-art facility we're going to be getting. Stop all these injuries.
Josh Sargent from Norwich. He's always in weak goals, and I watched him a few times this season. He looks half decent.
I can't pronounce his name right, but Bajon Miovski, centre forward at Aberdeen.
As a loan, I've been impressed with the kid from Liverpool, Dan's.
The one lad that seems to be hitting the headlines and seems to stand out is that lad at Coventry, O'Hare.
Isaiah Hutchinson from Walsall. I think get him. He's been electric for them, from what one of my friends has been saying, was a Walsall fan, and he'll hate me for saying that.
I think as United fans, all we really want is a bit of determination, a bit of honesty, a bit of integrity on the pitch. Hard work. I think if you get that from the players, then we're happy, aren't we? And certainly I'm happy. But sometimes this season I haven't felt like we've got 100% of the time. I know there's a quality issue, but I think there's been an issue with effort as well at times.
Just finish the season as strongly as possible. Give it your all. I know that they probably have been giving it their all, but just find that extra 5%. Just find something deep in your bones. Dig something up.
As long as they give 100%, supporters will get behind them. We always have.
If they can get a few wins at the end of this tail end of the season, if they can get a few good performances, it just gives them all something to build on. It gives them all a bit of hope.
I just say keep your chin up, lads. Enjoy the rest of the season. Our fate's just about sealed. I know we don't want to admit it. Just go out and enjoy it. Play for your sen. Put your sen in shop window. Play for the badge on the shirt. All we ask is play for the badge on the shirt. Give everything. And we'll support you. We'll support you 100%.
Earn a spot for next year.
But if we can see that every one of you is giving 110%, we will always be supportive of you.
Just keep up showing the desire and fight for the club. As long as you do that, we will continue to back you no matter what. And that's a big thing. Just put everything on the line, week in, week out, and Bramall Lane will be jumping.
It's a whole new fresh start, new ideas, new off-field coaching, like I mentioned before. But yeah, they just need to go away, recharge, and just forget all about it.
Don't let your heads go down. It doesn't matter. Ultimately, we're not as good as everybody else. And that's not your fault. Just give everything you can on the pitch. Walk off the pitch, honestly, that you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I did my best. And if it weren't good enough, it weren't good enough. I always say to my two children, sound like a pushy dad, I'm not at all, but I always say second place is first loser. And it's not so that, if they don't come first, that they get in trouble or anything like that. It's just having a mentality that, well, I'm going to try and win. I'm going to try and come first. And they know that if they don't, I'll be happy because they've tried their best. And then they can look at themselves and say, I've tried my best. So I think that's what it's all about. You've got to be honest with yourself, look in the mirror and be able to say, have I done my best? And I, as a United fan, be 100% happy with that. Just keep your head up. Don't let it go down. Be proud, I guess. Be proud to wear the red and white stripes. My granddad always used to say to me, it doesn't matter who's wearing the kit, it's the kit that we've come to support. And I think that's right, and I think the players need to be proud to wear the badge.
Come on, you red and white wizards!
As always, up the blades.
Ramble on.